It's just another Tuesday for Sarah. Headed home, thinking about dinner, about putting her feet up. The fuel light has been on for, well, she's not sure how long, but she'll get to it tomorrow. The first sign is a subtle hiccup, a slight shudder she feels through the steering wheel. Her smile fades. Then, it happens. The engine sputters violently, then dies. A sudden, deafening silence, broken only by the wind outside. The power steering goes. The wheel gets heavy. Sarah's eyes widen in panic in the rearview mirror. The headlights of the semi-truck behind her glare, growing larger. She fights the dead steering to coast onto the narrow shoulder. Later, under the harsh, flashing yellow lights of a tow truck, the driver, a grizzled man named Frank, wipes his hands on a rag. Fuel pump shot. Completely burned out. Probably took the injectors with it. Looking at $2,000. Easy. Maybe more. Sarah's voice trembles. But how? I just get in and drive. I don't do anything wrong. What if she's wrong? What if you're doing small, seemingly innocent things every single day that are silently, methodically murdering your car's heart? Let's investigate. Let's uncover the 10 daily routines that are secretly ruining your fuel pump and injectors. Welcome to the autopsy. We're counting down the top 10 culprits, starting with the common and ending with the catastrophic. Asterisk, asterisk. Culprit Hasson 0. The forgotten key. On. Asterisk, asterisk. You turn the key to on to roll up the window, check a light, but don't start the engine. The crime? The fuel pump primes at full pressure for a few seconds, then shuts off. Do this repeatedly, and you're sending it into a brutal, dry run cycle without the engine's oil and fuel flow to protect it. It's like revving a chainsaw in thin air, all friction, no lubrication. Case study. Meet Tom. Every day, he'd get in his truck, turn the key twice to on to let the gauges sweep before starting. After 2 years of this double priming ritual, his pump gave out. The mechanic found the commutator brushes inside the pump motor were completely worn down from the constant dry cycling. The verdict? A slow, grinding death for the pump motor. Culprit #9. Gassing up during a tanker delivery. You see the tanker truck at the station and think, fresh gas? The crime scene? Those underground tanks are being churned up, stirring decades of sediment, rust, and water from the bottom. You're pumping that toxic slurry directly into your car. The autopsy shows this abrasive cocktail sandblasts your pump's internals and clogs your injectors like arterial plaque. Case study. A 2021 Toyota Camry came into the shop with persistent misfires. The techs found all 4 injectors partially clogged with a fine, rust-colored silt. The owner recalled filling up at a station while a tanker was present. It required a full fuel system flush, a new filter, and injector cleaning to solve the $900 problem. The verdict? A contaminated fuel system and a very expensive cleanup. Culprit #8. The 5-minute crank. The engine doesn't start immediately, so you just hold the key in the start position, praying. This is torture. You're forcing the pump to work at maximum pressure, pushing against a wall, generating immense heat with nowhere for it to go. You're essentially boiling the fuel inside the pump. Case study. Jessica's Honda Civic had a failing crankshaft sensor. For a week, it took longer and longer cranking to start. One morning, after a solid 30-second crank, it started briefly then died forever. The pump had overheated, melting the plastic intake sleeve and seizing the motor, a $1,200 repair that started with a $150 sensor. The verdict? A thermally shocked and potentially melted pump. If it doesn't start after 10 seconds, something's wrong. Stop. Culprit #7. The cold, hard start. It's a cold morning. You're late. You start the car and immediately slam the accelerator to the floor. The engine is cold, the oil is thick, and the car's computer is dumping extra fuel to get things warm. You're flooding the cylinders, washing away protective oil, and forcing the fuel system to work at an extreme it wasn't designed for. Case study. A BMW 3 Series owner would aggressively rev his cold engine to warm it up faster. Within 50,000 miles, his fuel pump was failing, and oil analysis showed significant fuel dilution. The constant rich condition commands from the computer and the high fuel demand at cold start stretched the pump to its premature end. The verdict? Washed down cylinder walls, diluted oil, and a strained, overworked fuel pump. Culprit #6. The clogged artery. The fuel filter. Out of sight, out of mind. This is your fuel system's last line of defense. When it gets clogged, the fuel pump has to fight like a heart under extreme pressure to push fuel through the blockage. It's a silent, slow-motion heart attack. Case study. A Dodge Ram, with 90,000 miles on its original fuel filter, came in with a whining pump and lack of power. The filter was so clogged it was collapsed inward. The pump, having worked against this restriction for months, burned out just days later. A $30 filter replacement turned into an $800 pump job. The verdict? A pump that works itself to death, followed by total fuel system failure. Culprit #5. Ignoring the check engine light. That little orange light isn't a suggestion. It's a cry for help. Often, that light is triggered by a fuel system issue, a failing sensor, a clogged injector, a pressure problem. Ignoring it is like ignoring chest pains. You're forcing a sick system to work, accelerating its demise. Case study. The code P87, fuel rail divided by system pressure too low, had been on for months in a Ford Focus. The owner kept driving. The weak pump was being overworked to maintain pressure until it finally failed completely, taking a $300 fuel pressure sensor with it. The repair bill tripled. The verdict? A small $200 problem becomes a $2,000 catastrophe. Culprit #4. The unforgivable mix. Up. Diesel in a gas car. Gas in a diesel. It happens. This isn't a bad habit. It's a death sentence. The wrong fuel provides zero lubrication. The precision components inside your pump and injectors will grind themselves into metal dust in minutes. Case study. A rushed businessman put 10 gallons of diesel into his new GMC Sierra. He drove about 2 miles before the engine stalled. The repair required draining the tank, replacing the entire fuel delivery system, pump, lines, rail, and all 8 injectors. The total cost was over $8,000. The verdict? A complete, instantaneous, and total system replacement. A financial nightmare. We're now entering the top 3. The most destructive, most common culprits. The ones that act like slow poison. Culprit #3. The cheap gas trap. Saving 5 cents a gallon at that no-name station. Top tier. Gasoline has essential detergents that keep your injectors clean. Cheap gas doesn't. Think of your injectors as the nozzles of a fine perfume bottle. Low-quality gas leaves behind a sticky varnish, like hairspray residue, that slowly clogs the microscopic holes. Case study. A fleet manager for a small business switched to the cheapest fuel to cut costs. Within a year, 6 of his 10 vehicles were in the shop with the same issue. Clogged injectors causing rough idle and failed emissions tests. The cost of cleaning and replacing injectors across the fleet wiped out his savings multiple times over. The verdict? Poor performance, bad fuel economy, and a slow, suffocating death for your injectors. Culprit #2. The double jeopardy. This is the 1-2 punch. You not only run the tank low, but you also drive aggressively when you do. Under hard acceleration and cornering, the fuel in your tank sloshes away from the pump pickup. The pump starts sucking air. Air provides no cooling, no lubrication. It's like a blender running with no liquid inside. Case study. A Mazda MX-5 owner loved canyon carving. He also often drove with the fuel light on a spirited drive, taking a hard right turn with less than a gallon in the tank. The pump momentarily sucked air and overheated. The damage was instant. The pump seized, leaving him stranded with a $1,100 repair bill. The verdict? Instant, catastrophic overheating and pump failure. And now, the number one culprit, the silent killer, the single most destructive daily routine for your fuel pump. Culprit Hassan, running on fumes. Making a game out of how far you can go after the light comes on. This is the granddaddy of them all. Your electric fuel pump is submerged in your gasoline. The gasoline is its coolant. Running on low fuel is like running a high-performance engine without any coolant. It doesn't just run hot, it cooks itself to death. The heat builds, the internal components warp and expand, and the motor seizes. Case study. Sarah, from our opening story. Her mechanic showed her the failed pump. The windings were blackened, and the armature was scored from heat. Her own driving logs, which she kept for mileage, confirmed a pattern. 27 times in 3 months, she had driven the car until the low fuel warning chime activated. She was systematically cooking her fuel pump to death. The verdict? The whining sound you hear before it dies is its death rattle. A guaranteed, premature, and entirely preventable $1,500 failure. So, what's the hero's routine? It's simple. 1. Keep your tank above a quarter full. Always. 2. Use top-tier gasoline from reputable stations. 3. Listen to your car. That whine, that shudder, that check engine light. It's talking to you. 4. Change your fuel filter as recommended. And 5. Be gentle, especially when the engine is cold. Your car isn't just a machine. It's your freedom, your safety, a major investment. And now, you hold the keys to protecting it. You know the secrets. You've seen the culprits. Which of these habits will you change today? What's your never again moment? Share it in the comments below. Because a little knowledge isn't just power, it's protection.